How do you deal with a very dangerous passed pawn in an endgame? This is the situation that Capablanca faced. He was playing with white in this position. You'll notice black has 4 pawns for the bishop, but it's more important that this guy is such a dangerous passed pawn. You can see Stockfish says Capablanca was losing, and he not only held on to this game and didn't lose, but he actually won it. You're going to see how he approaches this position of stopping this pawn, also keeping his king safe in a very dangerous situation. There's a lot to learn here, and as usual, we're going to start at the beginning and work all the way through this game. As usual, this is game number 7 in a series where we're going through this book, Capablanca's Best Chess Endgames. Let's go ahead and get started. So Capablanca is playing with the white pieces, and he plays very passive this game, kind of goes into this collie setup. Then he plays c4, a little bit more aggressive. Black plays bishop e7. Now, there's something that generally happens in these positions. A lot of times the d-pawn will capture the c-pawn, and if you move your bishop here or here, you actually end up wasting a move. So what some people will do is try to play other moves like knight c6 or queen a5 or a6 or bishop e7, like anything, just to see if white's going to take that so you don't have to lose a move. In this case, black is like, I'm not going to worry about it. I want a castle. So he just plays it, but he does have to waste time recapturing that later. He castles, a3. He's threatening to play b4 and defend it. So black takes, b4. Bishop goes back, bishop to b2. He strikes with a5. Capablanca pushes by, and you will notice this c5 square is very important, right? One of the benefits of playing the move like a5 is, of course, if white takes you, you've now opened up your rook. This is very good. You have a nice target here on a3. If they don't take you, well, you're going to be able to capture and open up your rook that way anyway, and then also this is going to be weak. But if they push, like in the game, black has now created this weakness where a knight could very easily land there, or a bishop, or really any piece, because no pawns can control it. So just something to keep in mind, those positional weaknesses that show up in the game when pawns are moved forward, right? So Capablanca takes, he recaptures, the knight jumps into d4. This is a very good strategy when you have an isolated pawn. A lot of times blockading it so that it can't move forward is good, and then you can maybe target it later. Bishop to e2, bishop to f3, he castles, the rook swings over. Very nice idea from black here to slide the rook over this way to the open file. Queen b3, knight d7. Remember, we talked about this square, so this is something that Cap is going to have to keep an eye out for, right? Rook to d1, knight to e5, bishop goes back, queen e7, the rook comes over, and right around here it starts to get interesting, okay? And there's this sort of combination that Capablanca allows, and I don't know if it's because he didn't see everything or he thought he was going to be fine, but either way, we get a very interesting dynamic. So watch what happens here. He plays knight a4, opening up this file and allowing a very long combination of trades, which looks like this. He takes the rook, he takes the rook, he takes the rook, he takes back with the bishop, the knight jumps into the center, he moves his bishop back, the knight jumps over here. Look at these knights. He takes, and here is a very unexpected move from black. What do you think black played here? All right, if you had a chance to look at that, of course, the obvious move is you're going to recapture the bishop, right? No, he doesn't do that because now white just plays queen c2. He attacks here. Maybe this pawn is going to be weak. This is under attack. There's knight coming into c6. The bishop's about to be opened up. This is actually pretty good for Capablanca. So what does black do? Bishop takes h2. He sacrifices the bishop because he sees the follow-up queen h4 check paired with the knight is going to be extremely dangerous. You will notice all of the white pieces are on the other side of the board. There are no pieces to defend the king over here. And a queen and a knight is one of the best combinations in chess, right? And you're going to see how powerful that is actually multiple times throughout this game. So he takes the bishop, queen h4 check. And you can see Stockfish says, yeah, black is just winning here. King g1, queen takes f2 check. And there's a forced draw if black wants it immediately here, right? The king just goes back and forth. And if you want, you can just go check, 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 check. Okay? So this is the first opportunity when there was a perpetual check. He goes to g3. He captures. So he basically, by capturing here, is saying, no, I don't want to draw. I'm going to play for a win. And I mean, it makes sense. I mean, look at white's king, right? I would play for a win too. Even though he has an extra piece, 3 against 2, the king is just in so much danger. All right, so we get queen c2, moves the queen back. He's now hitting the knight. Another pawn drops off with a check again. check again, and again, there is a perpetual check. If black wants to, he can just go back and forth with his queen over and over again and take a draw. But black doesn't want to draw. He wants to win. And you have to remember, this is 1911. This is, I think, relatively early in Capablanca's career. You know, I have to think black probably thought he was a better player. It's not like you knew, oh, I'm playing the who's going to be the world champion one day, right? He thought like, no, I can win. And of course, he has a good position. Like, you can't blame the guy for playing. But he passes up the draw by playing this move, knight f6. And he's rerouting the knight over to g4 to create some more checkmate threats on white's king. Very dangerous situation. So as an example, if white is not paying attention and simply grabs a pawn, there's knight g4 check as an example, followed by knight e3 check, discovered check here, and he simply takes the queen next move. So that's just kind of one of the threats in the position. So Capablanca obviously sees that and decides to get rid of the annoying bishop so he doesn't have to worry about that. What do you think black played here? All right, well, this is fascinating because you would think, well, he's going to take the knight back either with the queen or with the pawn, right? No, he ignores it and launches another attack with his queen and knight. He goes check, he goes check. He has a draw again if he wants it, but he says, no, I don't want to take the draw. And after this, brings in the knight. He's trying to checkmate a different way now, coming in here and then forcing the king out, right? Doesn't even take the knight. So what if white tries to save the knight? For example, move their knight somewhere. Checkmate immediately. So you have to stop queen e1 checkmate, but you also have to worry about this. And you can't really do both. So Capablanca decides, okay, I better at least stop the one move checkmate, plays queen to d2. But now look what happens. Queen h2 check. He doesn't care about the knight. He's going after the king. I really like this. Check. And finally, after all of this back and forth, he's flushed the king out from the king side. And he has to run. King e2, he takes on g2. And look at all these pawns, by the way, which we're going to talk about more later. The king is running. He continues the attack with the knight. The queen comes back. Very dangerous situation for the white king. So we go king c1, check again, and finally, no, sorry, not yet. Knight to d3 check here, and finally, 13 moves later, he takes the knight. For 13 moves, the knight just sat there while he checked with the queen and the knight and forced the king all the way over here. That's pretty crazy when you think about it, okay? So finally takes the knight back. Okay, so here's the position that I presented to you at the beginning, or maybe it was this position. Queen c2, he stops the discovered checks, and then h5. You can see the eval bar says black is winning. The big problem is this pawn, right? This pawn is very dangerous because there are no pieces over there, right? Whenever you have a passed pawn where no pawns can stop it, it means another piece has to stop it. But if all the pieces are far away and that pawn has support from the queen, not to mention this knight is extremely powerful and white has to be careful that you don't just get checkmated or walk into some crazy tactic with the discovered check here. That's why this is so bad for Capablanca. And it's actually amazing that playing against a strong player, he was able to turn this around. Yeah, you have to remember, this is not like a online blitz game, right? There's not like, oh, time pressure and the guy blundered. Like, no, he just outplayed his opponent from here to the end of the game. It was actually incredible. So try to pay close attention. I'm going to point out the key moments, but this is really instructive on how to save a losing position, really. And we're going to see what Capablanca does. All right, so the first thing in any endgame, you want to make sure that your pieces are as active as possible. Obviously, white's pieces are not doing a very good job. So the first thing that he decides to do, bishop d4. He's going to improve this bishop and make it better, right? And he's going to go take this pawn. By the way, you say, can't he just take the pawn right away with the knight? Knight takes b6. You walk into queen g1 check. King a2. Thank you very much. Wins the knight. Okay, so there's a little tactic there defending the pawn. So bishop d4 stops that at least. Okay? Black plays h4. Capablanca takes the pawn. Black plays h3. I mean, why not? Right? You've got the pawn. Why not? He's 2 moves away from becoming a queen. He's got like queen here to deal with this, and then you push and you get a queen. So what do? How does Capablanca stop this? You had a chance to look at that? Bishop c7. So that bishop, which was not really doing anything, now has taken a pawn and also repositioned itself to actually play a role in stopping the passed pawn. So he's got the bishop and the queen controlling this h2 square. So very nice little setup, at least temporarily stopping the pawn. However, black now plays a really good move, e5, shutting out the bishop. And guess what? You have to worry about this again. Remember, there's still this dynamic of the queen lined up on your king. So you can't really move your queen like you think you might be able to because of this. So what would you play here as white? There's only one move that keeps white in the game. All right, if you had a chance to look at that, the move is b6. He basically just says, look, I need to get something going for myself here. I do have a passed pawn now. So he pushes his own passed pawn, and we get this race between this pawn and this pawn. Now, some of you might have noticed the c4 pawn is now undefended. You could take it with check. So why doesn't he just take that first to get rid of that? Well, the problem is after king f8, yeah, you got a pawn, but now you have to worry about this. The knight can move anywhere that it wants with a discovered check. And you still have to worry about this. You didn't solve that problem. And it's just not going to work out. The best try would be check. And then you can at least grab the pawn. But this is still going to be a winning position for black. His king is in a much better place. He's got these two pawns. And Stockfish says this is just winning for black. Okay? So it doesn't actually work. It looked kind of good, but there was just really nothing for white to do. So the only move is b6. All right, so here black plays a really nice move, queen to e4. He's centralizing the queen where it basically does everything. It defends this, it defends this, it keeps the knight defended, it keeps the pressure on the king, it stops the pawn from pushing, it supports this, it threatens to come down on e1. This is an amazing move, an amazing square for the queen. And if you're wondering why he didn't just like immediately go for this push here, well, now queen takes c4 is better because you can swing over to h4 and jump around and, I don't know, I guess take the knight, and it's fine for white. Okay, so it doesn't quite work. So queen e4. All right, so here Capablanca makes a mistake. Now, Stockfish says knight c3 for some reason was the move. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. I guess knight c3, h2, sacrificing the queen, and then you get a new queen with the fork is the line that Stockfish is giving, and then you take this back. So essentially you sacrifice the knight for the pawn on h2 by doing that little maneuver. It's still better for black, but that would have been his best try, knight c3, okay? What he played in the game was bishop takes e5, which, as you can see, is a huge blunder, but it's only a huge blunder if black can figure out why. If you want to pause, black to play and win, there's only one move for black here, which was missed in the game. All right, if you had a chance to look at that, the winning move for black is queen to h1 check. You have to keep the queen close to the pawn that you're trying to push down to support it, and this is the way to do it. What's interesting about this is after the game, black, Janikowski, missed it completely. He said he analyzed the position for 2 hours and just never actually even considered queen h1, which is fascinating because I just pull up Stockfish and I look over there for like 2 seconds and I'm like, oh, I see. Okay, queen h1 is the best move. Interesting, right? It's wild how things have just changed, right? So anyway, he played queen e1 check, which you can see is a draw if he wants it, but he misses the winning idea. So what is the winning idea? Well, queen h1 check, the king is going to move, and now you take the bishop after your queen is positioned to support this. And after the knight tries to come back in, you can now play queen g2, takes. Even though the knight temporarily stops you, your king is going to come. You've got two pawns here. You've got this pawn. And yeah, you can push yours, but black's knight is going to stop you. And eventually, this is going to be a win for black. There's just too many pawns, right? And you've easily stopped the one threat that white had. So that's kind of the idea. I didn't look at all the different lines, but that's basically it. However, instead, we get queen to e1 check, which, I mean, this looks like a good move, to be fair. Like, this looks like a very good move, right? Like, why would you want your queen over there when you can have it closer to the king? King a2. And right here, black now has the fourth opportunity for a draw by perpetual check. If he wants to, he can play knight to c1 check, forcing the king to go either here or back in front, and then again check, and then again check, and just go back and forth. And there's no way that white can get away from that. However, we already talked about it. He doesn't want to draw. He could have gotten it earlier. At this point, you're like, no, I'm committed. I've turned down a draw 3 times. Like, what's another time? I still have this really good pawn. So he takes the bishop. Because I don't want to draw, he takes the bishop. Capablanca pushes b7. Now, what's really amazing about this is, remember this pawn that was marching down the board earlier so quickly? It's been stuck on h3 for a while, and somehow Capablanca's pawn is actually the one threatening to become a queen first, which I thought was pretty mind-boggling when I was going through this. So watch what happens. Knight to d7, obviously you can't let him get a queen. Knight to c5, really nice move. He's saying, look, you can't take me. You can't take me because I just get the queen, right? So what does black have to do? Knight to b8 to blockade it. Queen takes c4 check, and knight to e4. This right here is an absolutely incredible move. You say, why is it so amazing? Well, the knight on e4, first of all, it was way over here. Now we've rerouted it to the center. It is a defensive piece. Notice it's stopping checks from the queen. You can't go there, and obviously this, so there's no checks from the queen, which is crazy, right? The king is like wide open, and the queen can't put it in check because of the knight. But also, it's an aggressive offensive piece. He's going to be attacking the king with his queen, and the knight is in perfect position to help out, which we're going to see in the rest of the game. All right, so I'm going to give you an example of how black could go wrong here. They didn't play this in the game, but if they would have played h2 trying to get a queen, if you would like to pause and find the move, go ahead. All right, if you had a chance to look at that, don't feel bad if you didn't see this. It's not like one move, it's like a series of moves. So it's queen c8 check, followed by queen h3 check, followed by queen e6 check, followed by queen e8 check. And all of this is setting up the queen line up with the queen and forcing the king up so that you can go knight to g5 check and then take the queen. Okay, that was the whole point of all of that. So, like I said, very complicated maneuver, but basically you force a position where the knight can win the queen. Okay, so that's the problem with h2. So black plays king h7. Capablanca plays queen d3. And by the way, notice that he's never allowing these checks from the opponent's queen. He's keeping these squares covered, which is important. g6, trying to block this off, obviously. Queen takes h3. He finally gets rid of that annoying pawn. Queen f3. Again, look, there are no checks from this queen. That's important. Queen c1. Why did black go here? Hopefully you noticed it. He wants a perpetual check, right? He's like, you know what? I had 4 chances. Can I have a 5th? Can I have a 5th try, right? He wants to just go back and forth. So if Kappa's not paying attention, this could happen. Of course, he's not going to allow that. If you would like to pause and try to find... Actually, wait a second. I think it's too early. Let me see. Yeah, I'm going to give you a couple moves, and I'll ask you to pause. So he goes check. The king moves. He goes check. The king moves. And now would be a good time. Pause the video. How did Capablanca win the game from here with a nice little maneuver? All right, if you had a chance to look at that. So the big problem in his position is that if he ever stops checking or doesn't defend somehow, this is going to be perpetual check, right? So for example, if you go check and take the knight, right? There's perpetual check. Check, check, check. Game, game is a draw. So you can't do that. So what does he do instead? He goes queen f8 check. He goes queen h8 check. And there's a very important reason why he has to go here, because he's forcing the king. He can't go here because of the knight. He's forcing the king onto this square. Why is that a big deal? Queen c8 is a fork. He forks the pieces. You have to take it now. And he says, thank you very much. And he gets a new queen. Game is over. Capablanca not only survives a losing position in the endgame, he wins. This is amazing. Just how he maneuvered that, how he created his own pass pawn, all of the tricks with the queen and the knight, the fancy play where he wasn't allowing the checks and to set this up. Really beautiful game. Yeah, I hope you guys learned something and appreciate that. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. As always, stay sharp, play smart, and take care.